Kaido has already suffered a magazine explosion, and that is the beauty of focus fire there. So what we're going to do is very quickly swap around our firing orders to the next destroyer over. Hello and welcome back everyone to our series of War on the Sea as the US Navy. Starting in the tactical view today because we have sighted something rather worrying. This is very close to a northerly position of our Thunder Task Force, this is particularly worrying because we have just come out of an engagement fighting a Nagato with this task force. So we've taken a tiny bit of damage and we are somewhat low on ammunition, and this is chasing us now. We have a Yamato task force. It feels strange to say, but luckily only a single Yamato is in this task force as compared to previous fleets we have seen in I think just only the previous episode actually. It's rather scary indeed because it does have a Mogami, an Ande Takao, a Sendai and an Oyodo. I don't think we're going to be able to stand up to this simply because of the Yamato, of course. If that were perhaps a Congo, I'd be somewhat tempted, but still there are two heavy cruisers here to batter our Clevelands and such. So we're going to try and avoid this, of course, and we're going to mark that up. You can see exactly how far away that is. That is just over here, southwards of this scout, and of course a northern position from our Thunder Task Force. Let's take a small reading, roughly 62 kilometers away. We are going to go back to Renault Island and try and have a look at resupplying there. We are going to produce some air units then. We're rather low on fortresses, so we're going to go in, I think, with some Havocs to start with, and they can carry how far away is that from the New Hebrides? That's 763 kilometers. I think if we go in with it's gonna have to be the 1,600 pound AP bombs. We're going for 2 of those each, which is very nice indeed. And I think we're going with some lightnings to back them up as well, with some rockets to distract some lighter ships and their AA, of course, because there's a lot of us about, especially that Oyodo there, which is made for anti-air purposes. So the date is the 1st of September. We are 26 days into this campaign. We have 17 command points at the moment, so we can't bring out anything too noteworthy at the moment to back up the Thunder Task Force. And we are currently retreating down from the northern position over here with our Hammer Task Force. We were trying to chase down a lone Shokaku, but things have got rather intense over there. So we're going to pull back and recoup with our Thunder Task Force, I think, and focus once again on getting our supplies over here with an initial landing task force onto Guadalcanal. We do have 4,200 troops roughly to go towards Guadalcanal, and they are going to be somewhat undersupplied, unfortunately, actually quite badly undersupplied. But not to worry, we can always pick up some supplies. We're going to have to rinse our supplies from Renault Island, I think. Probably should have been more supply heavy, of course, but that's okay. Just get some troops on to Guadalcanal and come back and forth and cycle those through. We will, of course, be getting a second cargo and troop supply convoy going out in the future when we do get some more command points our way. But that's going to be something for the next week, I think. So let's carry on, so we can retreat from this Yamato task force, because that will destroy our current Thunder task force if that does engage us. Well, a good few days have passed and we have been extremely lucky with that Yamato task force. It was not interested in chasing us whatsoever. Very lucky indeed. So what has actually happened, you can probably tell that we've pulled back from Guadalcanal with everything we've had, including our supplies, because we decided to drop off what we had on our supply task force onto Renault Island. And we can clearly visualize exactly what our landing force would have looked like. A lot of troops, but very few supplies to back them up. So we're going to go one more trip to the New Hebrides to pick up supplies. No troops on that particular run. Drop the supplies onto Guadalcanal, where the Japanese will keep them very safe for us. It's very kind of them, of course. And then we will back those up with the troops from Renault Island there. We can use that as a forward base as and when we need. We have also brought the Hammer out of the danger zone towards the north bases over here. We have rearmed them, and it's saying a lot of our ships are damaged. That's certainly true, but once again, it's fairly superficial, nothing huge. The North Carolina is losing a secondary gun and a director, but it's not particularly affecting the general outcome of battles so far, any of this damage. We can see that there is perhaps a cruiser task force just south of Randall Island over here, so we're going to see if we can scout that out. I'm actually going to scout that out with... the Mariners will do. We use some Mariners, and perhaps we can arm those with some bombs. 2,000 bombs should do just fine. If we plot that course over there, we don't necessarily need to attack them just yet. We'll try and get in range with the hammer once we know exactly what is there. So we'll pull back for now, try and keep in range. I'm sure they're trying to chase us down. As an update though, we did come back to the New Hebrides with Task Force Thunder, and we have actually reinforced ourselves with another New Mexico type. We've got the Mississippi out, so we now have 3 standard class battleships there. However, I am going to actually release and repair the Cleveland, and I'm going to replace that with a Brooklyn or 2. Let's go to New Hebrides, New C. Go to American CL, and we go to Brooklyn. Do just the one for now. If we merge that over. So we do have a Brooklyn and a Atlanta type over there. Just wonder if you really want to fill that to 10 slots at the moment. We do have a few command points. We have just been resupplied for that. How long is this until Colorado comes out? We've got 4 days for that to come out. So I am looking to get a new battleship is what I'm considering here for the Hammer, and I want that to be perhaps an Iowa or greater. Because you do have the option to get Montana and Illinois out. I think we just go for it. I think what we do is actually we get... I think we just go for another light cruiser actually. And we should get another Brooklyn, the Savannah there. And that's all good and dandy. I do really like Brooklyns, I'm sure you can tell. They do bring some decent firepower, armor, and a good amount of catapult scouts. So we're going to bring those over, we're going to bring those southwards, and I think it's time to start looking at the New Guinea bases, really, because they've been rather idle, rather neglected. So we're just going to keep a lookout over there, because it's quite likely there will be an enemy task force trying to invade Milne Bay. Don't know when, but that's the beauty of it, isn't it? So let's carry on, see if we can scout out what this task force is here. Ooh, actually this is rather a decent task force over here, so we can certainly engage this with the Hammer. We have a Myoko and a Takao in this group, as well as a few light cruisers. In fact, it looks like 3 light cruisers, one of them being a Sendai specifically. And we have a Shiratsu in the back over here. And we have one of the Yak 3, or 2 of those indeed. So that's pretty damn decent. What we're going to do, I think, is keep the Mariners away for the minute to keep sight on those. It looked like actually we were in range with that, so I should have kept an eye out for that. But we'll keep an eye out, protect our supply task force, bring back the Mariners, because it did look like the enemy task force was moving northwards to threaten those, so we can intercept those with some bombs from the Mariners and the Hammer as well. Yeah, we've definitely engaged them over here. You can see it's going to be a very close range fight. I would say that is 10 kilometers or less. We haven't, of course, spotted them exactly on the map over here. So we will just press play and see what happens. See if we can pick them up. Yeah, that's directly on us. So we're going to move very quickly with the Atlanta, Brooklyn. Come on, there we go. And the Russell. Come on. And we're going to line ahead. Go rather quickly, lay smoke with this group, because I get the feeling they're going to be focused very heavily. We are certainly losing ships in this battle, and we're going to very quickly focus with the Atlanta, this particular light cruiser very close to us. We will cite that as a Nagara for now and see how that goes later on. We will fire for effect. No need to use spotting fire just yet. So we'll probably hold off with some torpedoes as well. Just get all of those running at the moment. No solution to Nagara. That's probably because he needs to turn around. That's absolutely fine. Brooklyn can focus that down as well with AP and fire out. We will actually take these secondaries onto the number 6 over here. Can of course fire out some HE, and we will identify that as a go for a Kagero, and we'll see again once that how that goes. Get the Russell onto that as well. Fire out there. Now, how are we going to do the rest of our formations? I think we are going to get the Lang to move independently, and we will smoke up with that as well. Full speed ahead with that. Get that moving independently, and once again we will turn to the flank rather slowly there. Mayo and Knee Black should really form up in a line ahead, but that will mean that the Wichita needs to make some movements of its own. And I don't want to have to turn that round just yet. I do want to try and get a broadside on. So we're going to try and move that to the enemy's flank as well. So I think really we'll get the Mayo, the Wichita, and the Knee Black over here in a line once again. And I think really it's just safest for everyone to lay some smoke to begin with, and we'll see how things go. Go to 32 knots here. I'll do quite the wide turn around here. So Mayo can fire at Kagero as well. If we press that like so. Just make sure we're reassuring, making sure these go through. Wichita can fire then on to the Takao. And we'll use AP like so. Takao, please, CA, like that. And I think we'll take the secondaries onto a destroyer. We'll go for the Shiratsu over here. Fire out like that. We will have to identify that as well. Shiratsu. Knee Black can fire out onto Kagero as well. They need lots of focus fire to really get these destroyers and such down as quickly as possible. We will get the Northampton onto Takao as well with some AP, and some secondaries can fire out onto Shiratsu as well, I think. Like so. Now we're not going to split the fire with the North Carolina because we do only have one operational director, so we're going to fire everything onto the Miyoko, which we are going to have to identify once again as well. And that should be everything on our side given orders. I will make sure Northampton and North Carolina are in a line ahead once again, and we're going to bump up our speed to 31 knots there. I don't think we need to lay some smoke with our central ships over here. Is that actually the wrong way around? So we're just going to do that so the North Cow's leading this. That's all good. Therefore, North Cow can actually go at its top speed of 28 knots. Just make sure that is in fact leading. I think we'll hold off with some main battery guns over here, and we will have to turn around quite sharply. I'm going to hold off because I do want to get some manual shots off because of the small or very minimal distance of 11.2 kilometers away that is, which is rather nasty indeed. Kagero's already suffered a magazine explosion, and that is the beauty of focus fire there. So what we're going to do is very quickly swap around our firing orders to the next destroyer over. And that is just the beauty of focus fire. As we've said, very pleased with that. My heart sank when we heard that explosion because you hear it before you see the text message saying it's not your ship. Very scary when you hear that sort of thing. We're going to hold out once again because we're still firing at the same position. However, oh, that's a very nicely aimed manual shot if I do say so myself. So we're going to go for another one. That's boosted my confidence there rather a bit. Yeah, the look of that Kagero over there. So let's not waste any time. That is going at 27 knots. Let's fire out a little further down there, and then we can fire out with auto shots because our solution is rather high. Are we getting any hits onto our own ships? Yeah, the North Cal certainly taking some nasty damage there on the bow of the ship. Just waiting for these shots to land to judge our own aim. Once again, looks like we missed just a tad over here, if that was in fact the case. It's looking alright though so far. So Northampton's okay, yeah, we're certainly taking damage on the Russell there. But we are firing out some smoke. We need to get some torpedoes out then, I think. We'll go for a 2-degree spread and we'll just fire out as we are. We don't have an angle, unfortunately, which is rather unlucky there. How does this look over here with the Atlanta? We'll take off our starboard side torpedoes so they don't fire out later on as our own ships. So it should be okay there. We can see they're firing out now. So how are we looking with everything else over here? Nagara is taking some sort of damage. It does look to be a Nagara because of the high solution over here. The Takao is moving out. It looks like they are firing out torpedoes of their own. So what we're going to do is turn on all of the sonars that we can, although there's not going to be much help on the back. And I would like the Russells to be active, but that's looking like we're going to lose that. So what we're going to have to do is drastically change our maneuvers, and because the enemy is turning out, I'm rather confident in turning directly into them. So what we're going to do is do that with pretty much everything, to be honest. We are max speed with the Atlanta. Let's turn, I think we turn out a tad actually to start with the Atlanta, having said that, and the Mayo and such. Bring that to full speed. Wichita can drag behind a tad if it needs to. And I think once again turn around if possible. Lang can start turning in to get some better firing angles as well. We're not actually firing at anyone because I've made a massive oversight there, so we're going to fire at the Shiratsu. Looks like they're taking some massive hits onto the Nagara though, and that's brilliant. Let's take another review of our own ships. Russell has suffered a magazine explosion, so that is absolutely going down. And that is rather a shame, but the Atlanta, yeah, instantly down there. Atlanta's fine, Knee Black's basically fine, but I wouldn't count on that staying the same forever. So we do need to watch out for this North Cow, and it's looking like we might have to just send that back after this particular battle. Let's hold off with our main guns because Miyoko is slowing down, and we'll try and get some mangle shots out in front of that. So he's moving at 17 knots, so we'll just fire straight in front because he's not too far away from it. And then we'll go straight back to also firing on that. How is the Takao looking? It doesn't look like it's taking much damage. Take a report. Takao minor damage. So actually, yeah, not really doing too well on that so far, are we? Miyoko, though, should be taking a few more shots soon if we've aimed that right, of course. Yeah, just missed there, I think. So we do need to aim a little further ahead, especially since now picking up a bit of speed, going at 18 knots there. So we'll fire out a tad once we've fully reloaded. There we go. How is everyone else's solutions looking? Let's go to our own formation there. I think Northampton actually can act more independently now that we have an idea that there are torpedoes coming in. So we'll go to full speed there. Let's see, we are firing mostly at Takao, aren't we? So that's all good. Looks like we have a bit of a collision towards the should be sinking over here. Let's actually get some mangle shots out onto this Takao, because that is now very slow indeed. Where is Wichita? How are you doing? Doing okay. How are we looking with that Miyoko? That is retreating, of course. We've reloaded over here, pretty much. Mayo's the destroyer under fire now, unfortunately. Where are we with the Mayo? Just over here, towards the back. Gonna have to turn out for sure there. That's the wrong button, trying to hit the N key, and I think what we'll do is we get the Wichita to move in there, get the Knee Black to act independently and move out. Yeah, okay. So Nagara is sinking. We're going to turn to starboard now. Over here, it was our light cruisers firing at the Nagara, so we're going to go for this Sendai now, I think, to start finishing that off. Let's see, looks like it's taking some hits, just a bit of a turn there by the looks of things. Let's go then for number 3. Fire out HE as quickly as possible. Identify that as Sendai, of course. We are looking at this ship over here, and we get the Brooklyn onto that as well. Stop firing at the Yugamo, just fire absolutely everything onto here because that will be doing lots of damage to us. Doesn't look like the Yugamo's actually taking any damage there, unfortunately. North Cow, how are you looking? No real sign of torpedoes in the water against us, very luckily. Fire out against this Myoko once again. We have lost both secondary gun turrets, so look at the fires now, reaching all the way into our bow, which is rather nasty indeed. So I think really, if there's no real sign of any torpedoes coming our way, we are pushing quite far in with the North Cow. So we'll start pulling that back and keep an eye on that if we can. Go once again for the Takao. That is going rather slowly actually, so I think we're quite happy to go for some mangled shots over here. Where's Wichita? I think you're holding, aren't you? No, you're not. That's all good. North Cow once again. How are you looking? Okay, looks like we just missed against the Myoko there. Yeah, so what we're going to do is actually stop firing at the Myoko and fire onto the Takao because that is presenting the greater threat at the moment. We'll hold to get our guns on target there with our North Carolina. The Mayo is suffering monstrous damage. There's not a lot we can do about that, unfortunately, at the moment. We'll try putting us out of position as much as we can. Brooklyn and Atlanta really need to turn in now. Look at the torpedoes coming towards us. Looks like the Atlanta is going to take one or two. I think we carry on as we are. I think we just go straight here to try and outrun them with the Atlanta. Slow down a tad with our Brooklyn. We should be fine. Certainly watch out with the Mayo. The North Cow is going to turn around once again. We'll get that going this way. That's okay. Just watch out for these torpedoes over here. I think we're just about fine there. That's very, very lucky. Spotted at the last second, as ever. But I think we just about got away with that. Let's keep an eye out. He's keeping an eye out for some more torpedoes here. I think we broadside with the Wichita now. Northampton should probably turn out a tad to keep some distance. How are we looking against this Takao? I think we just need to down the heavy cruisers once again and try and get out, to be honest. Kagero is critical to critical. Heavy cruisers and heavy damage. But we need to watch out for the North Cow, of course. As ever, because this is a prime target. And we're going to fire out as we can here. Our guns are still training because we did turn around. I think the Lang's going to be fine there. Mayo, excuse me. Mayo can turn out just to make sure that doesn't get hit by the torpedoes, and we can turn the knee black around as well, so the guns do get trained in. How are we doing with the Sendai? Looks like it's going very slowly. It has taken a loss of fire actually, so that's excellent. So that will be going down fairly shortly. Brooklyn, yeah, let's turn you out. We are doing so indeed. So we just spotted. That's very well timed. So Shiratsu is firing out. Looks like towards the Northampton or even the North Cow. So the North Cow going to do another major turn, and it's going to turn dead into the enemy there. The Kagero is sinking, which taken a while considering it took a magazine explosion right off the bat. Okay, so Takao is finally sinking, and that is an excellent sight after a large explosion by the looks of things onto the bow of the ship there. So, we're going to try and finish off this Sendai. We are firing it with the Brooklyn and the Wichita. We're also going to start firing assist, I think, with the Lancer, just to make sure that does get some massive fire going in there. I'm not so worried about the Yugamo, to be honest. I think really now the Miyoko is the main target, and once we've dealt with that and the Sendai, we can call it a day there. However, I will start firing out some secondaries onto the Yugamo, just to make sure we're getting something else on there. We don't want to completely ignore it, don't want to neglect it, do we? So we're going to start firing out on the Miyoko once again over here, and keep an eye out for oncoming torpedoes. It looks like the Mayo and the Knee Black are going to actually survive after taking some nasty damage. Let's just pull that out so we don't get a collision. Lang is taking some damage though, so that should calm down with these, or most of the enemy ships downed. That's I think really we'll be fine. The Sendai is sinking. That's the number 7, which is excellent. So Brooklyn shall be moved on towards. I think we can move that on towards the Yugamo over here. Actually, that didn't take very long to down that Sendai. Actually, did it? Not at all. So actually, yeah, let's focus the Yugamo once again, and get the Wichita out onto Miyoko. We're certainly going to have to rearm and repair a lot of our ships here. So the rest of the campaign is going to be down to Task Force Thunder. So I'm glad we just reinforced that a tad. Just seeing how well it's coming. We can see there's torpedoes here. That should be ours coming in. We can see from the mini-map here. But that's not going to hit anything anymore. But always worth a shot. Seeing a lot of fire now. That Yugamo's got to go down. Yeah, look at that. Sendai sinking. That's an explosion onto the Yugamo we've just seen. Miyoko doesn't appear to be taking any shots just yet, actually. Well, that finally went down. It took a lot of firepower to really sink that Miyoko. But I absolutely forgot about our mariners in that panic and stress. But, you know, a decent result nonetheless. Can't complain with a completely wiped out enemy task force there. Not even the destroyers survived. But of course we did lose one destroyer of our own, it must be said. We lost the Russell. But we're quite lucky for the North Cow especially to come out of that alive and kicking. But we are going to send that task force back, not only to rearm but to repair, I think, the majority of it, if not all of that task force. So that's 15 much needed command points for us, but we do have to leave the theatre down to Task Force Thunder, which will now be protecting Rennell Island. And I think we're going to have to take a somewhat more passive stance until we get resupplied once again, and until we get our ships back from the dockyard. So what we're going to do now is get on over, get them into the dockyard, and call us a day there, I think, guys. Okay, so we have made it to the New Hebrides with the Hammer Task Force, and we're certainly sending back the North Carolina. We're going to send back, I think, the Lang for sure. Send back the Mayo for sure as well. I'll put those in to begin with. And we'll just very quickly go to tactical view so that we can just assess more accurately the damages we have on the rest of our ships. Some fair damage onto the Northampton, but nothing too much to worry about there. Don't think we need to send that back. Wichita is, it's saying it's worse than it really is, I think. It's some minor damage on there. Very minor on the Brooklyn as well. Atlanta's actually looking pretty damn decent, just a few components hurt and tickled there, and the Knee Black's actually looking pretty damn decent in itself. So that'll do for that particular task force, but we won't be sending that back out as it stands, I don't think. not with all the enemy battleships about. So that's going to take 13 days for the Mayor, 21 days for the North Carolina. So we're not going to be seeing that task force back to full strength anytime soon, I shouldn't think, because the Colorado itself isn't going to pay for that task force. However, the Cleveland will bounce up the refunds we get from that. We do have some ships in between as well, and we will be waiting for the next resupply, which will be 104 command points. So that will pay for an eyewear in itself. So we'll be seeing that within the next week or so. However, that is unfortunately all we have time for today. Ladies and gentlemen, quite an intense battle today. We need to come back with a fresh mind and a fresh outlook on things, and trying to finally get these supplies over to Guadalcanal. But it's going to be very tough with just Task Force Thunder out in the field there to protect our supplies. As we've seen, the Guadalcanal area is absolutely crawling with enemies over there. However, that will be the end of the video today. So thank you very much for watching once again. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and as ever, please do leave your feedback in the comments below. Besides, shall see you in the future. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.